All right, so there are so many clippers out that come from StyleCraft and Gamma, and in this video, I'm going to give you my top 6 ones that you might want to consider if you're thinking about buying one of their products. So let's get into this video and let's see which ones they are that I think the best ones on the market right now when it comes to StyleCraft and Gamma.
CTB, you know who it is.
All right, so y'all seen my top 6. You see the ones that I picked. When it comes to StyleCraft and Gamma, these are my top 6, and I'm gonna tell you exactly why I chose these, and I also did a point scale on how I ranked them, which is number 1 all the way to number 6. If you're also going to buy from their original website, use my discount code Concise15 so you can save yourself some money. And I'm also going to give you an alternative where you might be able to find it cheaper. So that being said, let's get into this. I broke this down focusing on the price, the battery life, performance when it comes to like hair texture, all of that is still included, and also the cons of these clippers. Now this is to my preference, to my eye, what I think are the cons. You can let me know in the comments what you think, but this is just what I have to give you. First off, we're going to start out with an OG. I'm going to talk about the Rebel. But the only thing is too, is that they did upgrade it. So majority I'm going to be talking about the Rebel and the upgraded version at the same time. The Rebel is one of those iconic clippers that came out with StyleCraft, and it came out with that fusion blade. It was light. Everybody felt like it replaced the Magic Clips. It was just one of those clippers that a lot of people like. Great performance, does all around hair textures very, very well. But some people might think that, you know, it might not be worth it. But let's talk about price. The price of this right now is $199.95. When I did my video at the time, it was at $189.95. It went up a little bit in price. And also, if you're thinking about the Saladin Rebel, which is a little bit different, I will talk about that. That one's at $219.95. So that being said, you do have those price ranges between $199 and $219 on their website. Now, you might be able to find this clipper, not the Saladin, but the original Rebel, at a lower price. Some of these websites have it even as low as around $140 to $150. You might be surprised on the price if you find it. That's something that you might be, you know, interested in when it comes to the price for this Rebel. Let's talk about the battery life. When it comes to the battery life, I do like the fact that Rebel is at this battery life. To me, it was like they started like one of the beginnings of the cordless clippers of StyleCraft. I mean, we had the Ergos and stuff like that, but the Rebel was way better than the Alphas. But this has 3 hours of a runtime with an hour charge time. To me, I always thought that that was going to be their base, right? Definitely thought that was going to be their base, that everything they're going to come out with is going to have a 3-hour runtime and an hour charge time. To me, that just made sense. I like that. I think that should be the base for them. We'll see in this lineup to see if that is the case for everything. Battery life, 3 hours, runtime, 1 hour charge time. Not a problem. Now, when it comes to the performance-wise, like I said earlier, this thing cuts all hair textures very, very well. It debulks well, it fades well. This is one of those clippers that's just a great all-around clipper. You can't go wrong with this clipper. Now, some people, what they might not like about this, just to talk about some of the cons, is that it has that USB. It does not have USB-C. It has the hook on it. I don't like the fact that it's not removable. They do have stuff that's out already that does have that. Some people don't like the feel of it, how light it is, how it feels plasticky and all that. And some even might say that they don't even like the sound of it. Those are some of the cons that you might get with this clipper. But when it comes to the performance side, I would have to say that that blows out the cons by far. That's the Rebel. The Saladin is a little bit more interesting. It's a little bit more upgraded. That one has a nice customized lids, like real artsy and creative. It has the Echo Blade on it. And honestly, the Echo Blade is probably the best thing that happened for the Rebel, because the sound that the motor makes, it cancels each other out. And honestly, I think that's a great upgrade. Now, the cons is basically still the same. They didn't upgrade the USB-C. They still have the USB with the regular hook, and it still feels plastic. Also, when it comes to the performance, the Rebel has 7,200 RPMs. And honestly, I thought that would have been a base for them as well. So I'm glad that that's the performance that we have when it comes to that. All right, so the next one I'm gonna talk about is the Saber 2.0. Now the Saber 2.0, this one costs the most out of the whole lineup. Now, you can find this on their website for $319.95. I have to be honest with you, I did not know that it got up there. I thought it was at the $299.95 for some time, but now I see it's at $319.95. Now the only relatable clipper that is at that price point is the 360 GZ clipper, but to me, that type of collab, that type of clipper, I don't have a problem being up there because it is a collab with 360 Jeezy. I do see value in that. Not saying I don't see value in the Saber 2.0 alone, but I just think that there's value in the 360 Jeezy clipper than just the Saber 2.0. But that's just my thoughts. That being said, it's $319.95. You might find it somewhere else at the original price at $299. So you can look on other websites as well to see if you can still find it for that. But also, like I said, my discount code Concise15 might save you some money on that as well. This being the highest one, some people are not probably going to see this worth it, but I have to talk about it. I have to talk about this because to me, you might be surprised about the Saber 2.0. Now, when it comes to the battery life, now I told y'all in the Rebel section, I thought the base was going to be 3 hours of a runtime and an hour of a charge time. But the Saber 2.0, it gives us a 2.5 hour runtime with a 2 hour charge time. I understand. The Rebel is a brush motor. This is a brushless motor, 2.5 hours of a runtime, 2 hours of a charge time. I honestly thought it would have been more of a runtime. I definitely thought, it being brushless, I definitely thought they could have went up to a 4 hour runtime with a 2 hour charge time. I'm surprised it's only 2.5 hours of a runtime, just being real with you. So that right there might stain it, being the highest price one, but runtime is not even out to a Rebel. But anyway, let's get to the performance. We have to be real. 7,200 RPMs, keep that being bass. I like that. Now, this does have an interesting thing to me, which is that Echo Blade. Echo Blade come with the Saber 2.0. I do like it. The Saber 2.0 does not have no problem with noise. It's very quiet, but that Echo Blade, you're gonna hear every crunch in the world with this blade, especially with a quiet clipper. That's why I think with the Rebel clipper and the Echo Blade, it balances each other's out. The fact that the Saber 2.0 is a quiet clipper with the Echo Blade, you're gonna hear every crunch. And I mean literally every crunch. Not a problem, but for some people, it might get annoying, just being real with you. Now, it also comes with the USB-C. That is an upgrade. I do appreciate the fact that they come out with the USB-C with this. And also when it comes to the performance, this is a beautiful clipper. It performs well. The bulk's great, fades great. It does everything like this. Honestly, this is probably in some people's top 3 of clippers of all time because the weight of it. I do like that the fact that it's all metal body. I like the fact that it has some weight to it and it fits well in the hand. The ergonomics are not bad at all either. So when it comes to the performance, it does great. It does amazingly great. And I'm not mad at that. Now, the cons easily, if y'all heard everything I said, is the price. It being that costly. I think they should have kept it at $299.95 and honestly get to a point where it could be $269.95. I think that'll be a real healthy competitive price. And also the battery life. I definitely didn't think they was going to downgrade in battery life, but they did. So that's one of the cons for me when it comes to the Saber 2. Let's get to the next one, which is the Metal Instinct. The Metal Instinct to me is that clipper a lot of people that would, they were waiting on because it's a different motor. We're going to talk about that. And also it kind of started something. Now this is the upgraded version, not just the original Instincts, but the Metal Instincts. I like the fact that they went metal. I like the heavier body, but it's a compact clipper. I think the Instincts was one of them that kind of started that compact movement. That being said, a lot of people was kind of eager to get this clipper. This being at the price at $299.95, for some people, they see that it's very valuable at that price. For some people, that's still too much for a clipper for them. But you might be able to find this on other websites between $220 to $295. You might be finding it in that price range. So you might be able to get this quality clipper at a lower cost. That being said, let's talk about runtime. Now, this is what I'm talking about. The Metal Instinct has a 4-hour runtime with a 2-hour charge time. That to me is how you upgrade. That is how you upgrade, and they did an amazing job with that. I appreciate it. Now, I have to say this before everybody goes crazy in the comment section. Some people are going to comment and say, well, I don't get my full 4 hours of a runtime with this clipper. Understandable. So it's on the box saying that it's going to be a 4-hour runtime, 2-hour charge time. Depending, I guess, hair texture wise, that could cause that. This being a vector motor, let's get into the performance now. This being a vector motor means that it can rev up 93 to 9,500 RPMs and it can rev up to 11,500 or 12,000, I believe so. The fact that it has that capability, I'm not sure how much of us have like certain type of hair textures, but there's certain type of hair textures that take a little bit more power. So I guess it all depends on how you really utilize this clipper on what hair textures that you're using it on. But it can probably knock off the battery life. Also, some of them probably won't still get to 4 hours of a runtime. Some of them probably will be right at that runtime of 4 hours. Honestly, when I had them, I had no problems with the runtime with that clipper. So that's why I'm saying that with my own personal use. That's the information I can give y'all. Now, I do like the fact that we even got to that. Now that's with a vector motor, so I'm surprised they didn't get there with the brushless motor with the Saber 2.0. But here and there, like I said, when it comes to the performance, 9,500 RPMs, it comes out with the Saber blade, and this does perform very well with all hair textures. It debulks well, it fades well, no problems. I like the fact that they got that Saber blade on it. Now let's get into some of the cons. You know, clearly some of y'all gonna say the price, some of y'all gonna say it's not worth it. There's other clippers like it that you can get for a lower price. Okay, cool. If that's how you feel, that's just how you feel. One of the things I could say is like, they got the 4-hour runtime, 2-hour charge time, but when it comes to the USB, they don't have USB-C. I definitely thought that the Metal Instinct editions would have had the USB-C. I'm not sure why the clipper didn't have USB-C. I thought that was kind of interesting. And also, this being a vector motor, 9,500 RPMs and up, one of the cons is that the blade can get hot a lot quicker than most clippers. So a lot of people didn't really like that as well. That is a con, and I do understand that. That's what you have when it comes to Metal Instincts. Let's get to the next one, and this is one of my favorite ones to talk about, and I'm gonna tell you why. The Metal Instinct X clipper. This clipper for me, interesting enough, it made my top 6, but I have to talk about this. This is on their website for $269.95. $269.95 is on the website. That's the price for the Instinct X. Surprisingly though, you can probably find this around $170 on some other websites. That's the lowest I think I've seen it. And that's a big jump. It's like $100. It's a $100 jump from that clipper. We're gonna figure out why that is. So price range, it is up there on their website, but you could probably find it a lot cheaper on other websites. When it comes to the runtime, now hear me out. The Metal Instincts says that it has a 4-hour runtime with a 2-hour charge time. The Instinct X has a 2-hour runtime with a 2-hour charge time. I'm not sure why that is. And also, interesting enough, when it comes to the performance, the RPMs is even lower than the Metal Instincts. RPMs rev at 8,500 RPMs. I thought that this would have had a little bit more runtime. Y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think about that. Now, this is the information I'm getting from the website. So if you guys think that this is an error when it comes to runtime and charge time, y'all just let me know. But last time I recall, it told me 2-hour runtime, 2-hour charge time, and it has lesser RPMs, but it doesn't have a runtime like how the Metal Instinct does. So the Instinct X is like, I'm not sure. Now it does come with the Saber blade. I do like that. And it's not USB-C, it's just USB. Now, surprisingly enough, it does perform very well, of course. They do a good job when it comes to the performance side with all hair textures and stuff like that. I have no problem with that. That's good. But I'm gonna talk about some external things that to me that is like on the con side of this clipper. Other than the fact that it doesn't have USB-C, other than the fact that it only has a runtime that, you know, I'm not sure why. Other than the fact that the price is $269 and then you can probably find it for $100 cheaper. The ergonomics of this clipper is nowhere to be found. The feel of it is terrible to me. I don't know how people can cut with it. I mean, I know you could probably use a rubber grip, but to me, it has no ergonomics. It's like their ergo in a sense, but they just straighten out the ergo, kind of. I don't know why. To me, it's like it could slip through the hands very, very easily. And I don't know why they made that design or they chose that design or whatever you want to call it. But to me, I think the Instinct X is like, I just don't know why. Surprisingly though, it made the top 6, right? But I'm gonna tell you how it ranks. So next one we're gonna talk about is the Shorty clipper. Of course, if I said the Saber 2.0, you best believe that the Shorty 2.0, the Shorty clipper was gonna be in this lineup. So let's talk about this. Now this one, we're gonna see what's really, really dope about this one. Now, the price is a little bit lower than the Instinct X. It's $249.95. However, you might be able to find this somewhere around $180 in other places. So Shorty clipper has some room, you might see the value. Price-wise, $249.95 when it comes to the runtime and the charge time. Now, I don't know what it is, but the Rebel was at 3 hours of runtime, 1 hour of charge time. Most of the stuff I'm talking about, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but the Shorty clipper is 2 hours of a runtime and 2 hours of a charge time. I'm not understanding why that is. Now, in my concise review, I could have said something different, like on the box, because I do know sometimes there's a discrepancy between what's on the front side of the box and what's on the back side of the box. More and more research that I do, I'm finding out that this thing is 2 hours of a runtime, 2 hours of a charge time, and I'm not sure why. It's a brushless motor, 7,500 RPMs. This does come with a Faber blade, and this does have a USB-C. This is Gamma side, and I do like that. So when it comes to Gamma, it seems like Gamma is the one that's always going to focus more on USB-Cs than StyleCraft just being USB. I do like the fact that this is at 7,500 RPMs. It's a little bit more than the 7,200 RPMs when it comes to the brush motors and the brushless motors. I do like, you know, that it is a little bit more powerful. It cuts very, very well. It's very similar to the Saber 2.0. The only difference is to me is that it's not an all metal body and it does not come with the echo blade. So that being said, the only problem I can see with this clipper, like con-wise, is that it has a battery life of 2 hours of runtime, 2 hours of a charge time. Shorty, to me, I do like that clipper. Nothing wrong with it. Let's get to the next one. This is the most recent one that I just reviewed. This is the Gamma Boosted Up Clipper. Now this clipper surprisingly is a little bit cheaper than the Shorty. This is $209.95, and so far somehow I found this price around $170 already. That could be, I don't know if anybody used some of these websites. I thought that was kind of interesting, but $209.95 is on the original website. When it comes to runtime, I think y'all can already know what the runtime is. What I found out that what it is, 2 hour runtime, 2 hour charge time. This is like the Rebel was like, they came out strong with the Rebel when it came to runtime and charge time. I like that there was a 2 hour difference, but there's not much of a difference anymore in these clippers when it comes to runtime and charge time. I'm not sure about that. I don't know why, but like I said in the comments, if that is wrong, let me know. From the research that I have seen, everything told me 2 hour runtime, 2 hour charge time. Yeah, I think battery life for most of these is gonna be somewhat of a con, but not all of them. Now this does have 7,200 RPMs. This is a brush motor, super torque rotary motor. This does have a USB-C. I do like that. One thing I do not like about this clipper, man, I don't know why they did this, but it comes with this original DLC blade. It does not come with a Faber or Fusion, an Echo. It don't come with none of those. It's just DLC blade. I'm not sure why they did that. I think they dropped the ball on that one, but that's just me when it comes to this clipper. And that being said, when it comes to like the performance side on how well it cuts, I have to be honest, it does not cut all hair textures well. I would have to say that this is more straight hair, light curls type of performance with this clipper with that blade. Now you switch out the blade, then it could be an all-around performing blade. I can't say that it's always the best with fading because of the fact that the DLC blade that they use does have more of a gap between the teeth. And to be honest, it does great with debulking, but not all hair textures do I believe that it performs very, very well. So that being said, one of the things I do like though, it does have a removable hook. It does not have a standard hook. Some of the cons, like I just said, is the fact that for one, also it's like a plastic fill. You might not like that. That runtime, charge time is a given in the blade. I'm not sure why they chose that blade. I definitely feel like it got boosted up in some areas, but then it took a down. It took a drop in some areas. So let me get to the point scale of how I even rated all these clippers, but these are the best ones to me when it comes to the StyleCraft and Gamma lineup. I'm going to give you the point scale and then I'm just going to tell you my favorite one, but there are like tiebreakers with some of these because I did a point scale based on, like I said, price, battery life, performance, and cons. So that being said, I'm going to give you the total of points and then I'll show you a chart of how I rated everything. When it came to the price, the Rebels got the highest price point rating. The lowest rating was the Saber 2.0. When it came to battery life, the Metal Instincts having a 4-hour runtime has the highest rating. The Instinct X has the lowest rating due to the fact that this is a 2-hour runtime, 2-hour charge time. Knowing that this is a vector motor, knowing it's going to go a lot fast, it's probably going to die out sooner. When it comes to performance, I have the Saber 2.0 being the best performing clipper, and I have the Instinct X being the worst performing clipper. And also when it comes to the cons, who has the worst cons and who has the best cons. I honestly have to say that the Shorty clipper doesn't have that many cons, so I had to give that one the highest rating, and the worst cons is the Instinct X, of course. So that being said, that's how I rated that, but let me tell you all the total points out of all of them. With 17 points, the Metal Instinct clipper got 17 points, but so did the Rebel clipper get 17 points of overall. Right under that with 16 points, you got the Saber 2.0 and the Shorty clipper. They're kind of like hand in hand. And with 12 points, the boosted up clippers under that, and with 6 points The Metal Instinct X got 6 points of how I rated this. So that being said, that is the scale to like what's the best to the worst out of this lineup. But if you ask me, Concise, which one would you pick, no matter of the point scale, which one I think is the best performance one, hands down, I have to pick the Saber 2.0, the upgraded Rebel, and then I'm gonna pick the Gamma Shorty. That's my lineup, and then everything under that. I would love to know y'all lineup. Y'all let me know, how would y'all pick that? How would y'all scale that? How would you rate it? I'm curious. But to me, when the StyleCraft and Gamma lineup, to me, these are the best ones that they had to offer. And this is how I rank them when it comes to my observation. So let me know in the comments where you at with this. How do you feel about this lineup? How you like my rating scale? I'm curious, which ones would y'all pick? But thank y'all for watching. Please subscribe, y'all. I got more coming, and maybe a random giveaway soon. So y'all be blessed.
CTB. You know who it is.